Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, sorry. Pleasure I rise today to speak on the Transport Legislation Amendment Bill. This is a pretty wide-ranging bill and makes a number of changes across both roads and road safety as well as public transport portfolios. And it's one I've been waiting to see from this government, which has a very, very thin agenda in recent months. The bill is an omnibus bill, and it includes reforms relevant to both roads and road safety and public transport portfolios. The bill sets up a legal process for research, trial into driving and medicinal cannabis use, provides for regulation of e-scooter and bicycle share schemes by local councils, aligns bus driver accreditation with accreditation of commercial passenger vehicle drivers, clarifies governance arrangements for various transport agencies, including V-Line, makes various road safety reforms, including allowing speed cameras and speed detection devices to be used on bikes and e-scooters, and rules around alcohol interlocks, amends rules surrounding the sharing of data from commercial passenger vehicles and the public transport network with respect to CCTV footage, bike travel data, and makes very other technical consequential changes and amendments. Speaker, I'll start actually with the cannabis trial, which we discussed earlier on this year in this House. And it's a big challenge for the government, I think, the cannabis trial, in the sense that I do have empathy for people that need to take medicinal cannabis to have a better quality of life. And obviously, in doing so, that obviously impedes them to drive. And it's a very, very fine balancing act between someone's having a better quality of life and not putting other people or other road users at risk. And this is a big challenge for the government, which I would have thought, being such a challenge, we would have had a little bit more detail on the trial itself and how that will work. We are under the impression it's an off-road trial, as in it might be held, say, at the Lang Lang Testing Centre or a facility like that. And it's going to take, I think it was a 2-year trial, I think, from memory, but it is a big challenge, because the government, THC in your system does last for a long time. And I know people that have smoked cannabis for years, and some of them are okay and some of them aren't. And I think everyone's personal disposition will affect the way their cannabis treatment affects them. So the government's got to find this balance between, literally giving someone a quality of life and letting them drive but not hurting other people. And the challenge here is the THC and how long that lasts in the system, and how does that impair people to, what's the impairment? And it's very, very hard. I'd hate to be a police officer trying to judge an impairment on someone that says, I can take medicinal cannabis, I'm allowed to drive. Now, if you've ever seen someone that is, stoned, literally, the eyes are droopy and speech impaired and all the rest of it, but when they've got a licence to say, I can drive, I'm allowed to take medicinal cannabis, at what point in time do we say, well, you're impaired? So the impairment then is taking away their right to drive, and it's a really big challenge. And I'm interested to see the results of this trial, see what level of impairment is. Now you can't drive. It's good they're doing the trial. I actually think that is a good idea, but it's such a fine line that the government has to tread in this space of cannabis use, or medicinal cannabis use. Sorry, Deputy Speaker, and a person's right to drive. So it's going to be a very interesting, but we would have liked more detail on that. And I'm going to take off probably from where the member of Bulleen went today with V-Line and the, probably the other way I can put it, Speaker, the poor performance of V-Line, and the fact that, train times now are no better than what they were 70 years ago. And in my electorate in Narrabeen, in 2017, it was announced by the Federal Liberal National Coalition $490 million to upgrade the Gippsland line. It was announced in 2017. In 2018, it was a commitment by the government to duplicate the line from Bunyip to Longwarry, again in 2022. Now, it's not happening. It's done. Now, to be honest, it's very, very frustrating for Gippsland commuters. People are using public transport more and more to get to and from Melbourne, and people in my area, they're continually shunted onto buses, and sometimes it's taken them up to 4 hours to get back to Warragul or Drouin. Now, that's not good enough. Now, this line duplication is so important to improve train times. Now, I know people will argue that and they go, oh, well, you know, sometimes there's not enough carriages. Like at the moment, we have three carriages, and there should be 4 or 5. And there's not enough carriages there to transport the people up and down the line. The duplication is so important to improve those more trains. You can't get more trains when you have this single section of track from Longwarry to Bunyip. Now, it would be like, Acting Speaker, Deputy Speaker, it would be like you coming to me and say, Member for Narrabeen, can you build me a house I want a 40 square house. I say, no problem. I finish the house and I give you 20 squares. Two questions you would ask me. Where's the rest of it? And where's the money gone? And they're the two questions that my community is asking this government, is where is the rest of the duplication and where has the money gone? Because the money wasn't the government's money, it was federal money, $490 million. The state government put in $30 to $40 million. So where'd the money go? Has it gone into SRL? Gippsland is now put, again, to the back of the list for the sake of a government project in the city. And my community is getting very, very frustrated because I keep asking questions, but I do not get the answers. The last time I asked a question about this particular subject from Bunyip to Longwarry, I got a press release from the then Minister for Infrastructure, who is now the Premier, a press release talking about Stratford, 200 kilometres away. Now that shows a total lack of respect from the now Premier for my community. Surely if I get up in this chamber and I ask a legitimate question that is a concern to my constituents, that an answer I can get is relevant, not somewhere 200 kilometres away. That just shows a total lack of respect, and no wonder my community is getting so angry about our transport problems. I hear in this chamber all the time, we're removing 110 level crossings, we're improving rail, we've got better rail, we've got better roads. And every time I yell out in the chamber, what about Narrabeen? It's silence. Because there hasn't been one level crossing removal in regional Victoria. I have a level crossing in Warragul that will take you 20 to 30 minutes to get through if you're picking up your kids in school time. Where's our share of the level crossing removal? Where's our share of the better rail services? As the member for Bulleen stated earlier, a $50 billion project in Melbourne, and we can't get a bridge built that the government they had to contribute so little. It all came from federal. So where's the money gone? Why won't they build the bridge? I did hear the excuse that there's Strzelecki gums and a southern brown bandicoot is the problem. Well, the government had no issue removing trees for projects in Melbourne. So why is there an issue removing trees in regional Victoria so we get better infrastructure? Why is that all of a sudden a major issue? And if you're really concerned about the southern brown bandicoot, by all means employ a vet, have a look, I don't know, but there's got to be a way around it because my community deserves better than what the government has delivered to date. My community deserves better than broken promises and an inefficient rail service to Gippsland, and it doesn't just affect me, it affects the member for Morwell, it affects the member for Gippsland East and Gippsland South. We're all on that same line. So we are getting substandard service from this government, and I would like the government to fix the service. Thank you.